So you're looking to buy your first smart home device, but man, the number of choices out there can feel overwhelming. It's so easy to feel like you could waste your money on the wrong thing. And the Google Nest Hub, it's always a tempting choice. It looks great, it's often on sale, but here in 2026, it could be the smartest $100 you ever spend, or it could be the one purchase you really regret. So today, we are going to get to the bottom of it. Our goal is simple. By the end of this explainer, you will know exactly whether to buy it, skip it, or just wait for something better.
Okay, let's dive right in. Here's our syllabus for today's little revision class. First, we'll cover the absolute basics. What is this thing? And what's the big catch that, frankly, nobody talks about? Then we'll get into its physical design and its one truly unique feature, sleep sensing. After that, we'll grade its performance as a smart home controller. Then you'll want to pay attention, because we're going to cover the two critical deal breakers you must know. Finally, we'll put in a head-to-head battle against its biggest rival, before we wrap it all up with a final verdict and a quick quiz to make sure you're ready for the exam. Let's get started.
All right, first up on the syllabus, what in the world is the Google Nest Hub? We're going to define it, sure, but more importantly, we are going to talk about the huge catch that most other reviews and retail pages just completely miss. This is the context you absolutely need before we go any further.
And here it is, the Google Nest Hub 2nd generation. Now, this is a device that has shown up on best smart home devices for beginners lists for years, and you know what? For some very good reasons. At its core, it's a 7-inch smart display. The easiest way to think about it is like a small touchscreen that's always plugged into your wall, powered by Google Assistant. It's really designed to be the central point of your smart home, kind of like a little command center on your kitchen counter or your bedside table.
So here's the crucial point. It's designed to be a visual interface for Google's whole world. You can ask it questions and see the answers, you can watch YouTube videos while you cook, ask it to control your smart lights, or just glance at your Google Calendar for the day, all from one spot. It actually launched way back in 2021, but it's still being sold today because that core idea is still genuinely useful. But, and this is a very big but, the brain inside this thing, the software running it all, has been going through some really serious and frankly, very messy changes.
Now this right here, this is the one thing you absolutely have to know before you even think about buying this device in 2026. For the past couple of years, Google has been in the middle of this massive internal upheaval. They're phasing out their old, reliable Google Assistant, the voice we've all known for years, and replacing it with their much more powerful, but initially unstable, Gemini AI. And to put it mildly, this transition was not smooth. It has been a really rocky road for a lot of Google's hardware.
And this timeline just illustrates the problem perfectly. All through 2025, longtime users started reporting that their once super reliable Nest Hubs were failing at the most basic questions. Simple stuff like setting a timer would just break. Smart home routines would just stop working. It was a widespread mess, so bad that Google's own chief product officer had to publicly apologize for how bad it had gotten. Now, here in early 2026, the Gemini for Home software update is rolling out to fix this. And it is improving things, but it's also introduced brand new issues for some people. So the key takeaway for you as a beginner is this. The software is getting better, but you should not expect a flawless, it just works experience out of the box. Be ready for the occasional weird glitch. So quick recap of Section 1. The Nest Hub is a 7-inch smart display, but its software has been pretty unreliable because of Google's rocky transition from the old Assistant to the new Gemini AI.
Okay, let's move on to the physical device itself. Software aside, how does it actually look and feel in your home? In this section, we'll cover the design, which is genuinely excellent. We'll also talk about a frustrating little ergonomic flaw, and then we'll dive deep into the one unique feature that no competitor at this price can even touch.
Right, this is where the Nest Hub absolutely earns its reputation. The physical design is just fantastic. The screen looks like it's floating above this soft fabric-covered base. And that's a very deliberate choice that makes it look less like some harsh tech gadget and more like a piece of home decor, almost like a digital photo frame. It comes in 4 muted, gentle colors: chalk, charcoal, mist, and sand that are meant to blend in, not scream for attention. And that floating design is also really practical, especially in the kitchen, since the raised angle keeps the screen away from countertop spills. It's compact, and crucially, it's designed to be always plugged in. There's no battery, so this isn't a portable tablet you carry around. It's meant to live in one spot.
But here is a common mistake that trips up almost every new user, assuming all the controls are easy to get to. For some bizarre reason, the physical volume buttons and the microphone mute switch are on the back of the display. This means if you want to quickly turn the volume up or down, or just mute the mic, you'll be fumbling around blindly, trying to feel for the right button. It's a small thing, but it is an annoyance you will absolutely notice every single day.
Okay, now for the Nest Hub's secret weapon. Tucked inside this device is something called a SOLI radar chip. This is a tiny, low-power radar sensor that was originally developed for Google's Pixel phones. It's really important to understand that it doesn't see you like a camera. Instead, it sends out a tiny radar signal that can detect micro-movements, like the rise and fall of your chest when you breathe, with incredible precision. And this one piece of tech enables the Hub's most unique and, frankly, most magical feature.
And that feature is called sleep sensing. When you place the Nest Hub on your nightstand pointing towards your body, that SOLI radar tracks the tiny movements of your breathing patterns all night long. It does this without you wearing anything. No watch, no ring, no chest strap, nothing is touching you. And every morning, it gives you this simple, easy-to-read sleep summary showing how long you slept, if there were any disturbances like coughing or snoring, and the overall quality of your rest.
But here's another very common mistake that can make this awesome feature totally useless if you're not careful. The SOLI radar tracks whatever is closest to it and moving. So if you have a partner who sleeps closer to the nightstand, it's going to track their breathing, not yours. If your cat or dog likes to curl up on the bed near the device, it will track them, not you. This can completely mess up your sleep data. For this feature to work right, placement is absolutely critical, and you have to be the closest person to it. Let's do a quick recap. The Nest Hub has a great home-friendly design and a really unique touchless sleep tracking feature. But you need to be aware of the awkwardly placed controls and the potential for sleep data inaccuracies if you don't position it just right. Okay, let's talk performance. Specifically, let's focus on why this device is so consistently recommended as one of the best starting points for anyone just dipping their toes into the smart home world. Despite those software stumbles we talked about, there are a few areas where it really shines for a beginner.
The number one reason it shines for beginners is just how simple it is. The setup process is about as easy as it gets. You take it out of the box, plug it into the wall, download the Google Home app on your phone, and the screen just walks you through the whole thing. The average setup time is only about 8 minutes, and something like 80% of first-time users get it up and running perfectly without any trouble at all. It's a very gentle on-ramp to the world of smart devices.
So, the crucial thing for any beginner building a smart home in 2026 is support for a standard called Matter. You see, Matter is a universal smart home language. The best analogy is to think of it like USB for your smart devices. Before Matter, buying a smart light bulb was so confusing. You had to check if it worked with Google, or only with Alexa, or only with Apple. It was a mess. Because the Nest Hub supports Matter, it means you can go out and buy a smart plug or a light bulb from almost any brand, and as long as you see that little Matter logo on the box, you know with 100% certainty it will just work with your hub. It takes all the guesswork out of it.
And remember that SOLI radar chip we talked about? Well, its other job is to power something called quick gestures. This lets you do things like just wave your hand in front of the screen to snooze an alarm, or hold your hand up like a stop sign to pause a YouTube video. You don't have to touch anything or say a word. Within about 3 feet, it's incredibly reliable with like a 90% success rate. For silencing that blaring morning alarm without fumbling around, or pausing a recipe video when your hands are covered in flour, it is a genuinely fantastic feature. To recap this section, the Hub is incredibly easy to set up, and its support for the Universal Matter standard makes it a flexible and future-proof choice for anyone just starting their smart home.
Okay, class, I need you to pay very close attention to this next section. We are now going to cover the 2 most critical limitations of the Google Nest Hub. These are not small complaints. These are fundamental things about the device, and understanding these 2 points can absolutely save you from a major case of buyer's remorse.
First, and this is the big one, the Google Nest Hub 2nd Gen has no camera. Zero. Zilch. This was not an accident, it was a very deliberate design choice, and it represents a major trade-off. On one hand, for anyone worried about privacy, it is a huge win. This makes it a perfect device for a bedroom because you never have to worry or feel weird about a camera pointing at you. There's no lens to cover up with tape. But on the other hand, it's a total loss of functionality for one of the most popular uses of a smart display, video calls. You can make audio calls, and if someone video calls you, you can see them, but they cannot see you.
And this right here leads to the single most common mistake people make with this device. They buy it for a central spot like the kitchen, thinking it'll be a great, simple way to video chat with family, especially grandparents and kids. It absolutely cannot do this. You cannot use it for Google Meet or any other video calling service where you need to be seen. If video calling is a feature you want, even sometimes you need to either get the much more expensive Nest Hub Max, which has a camera, or you need to look at a competing device.
And the second major deal breaker is its complete and total dependence on an internet connection. If your home Wi-Fi goes down, for any reason, the Nest Hub becomes almost completely useless. I am not exaggerating. It can't set a timer, it can't play music, it can't even answer what time is it. It can't control your smart lights, even if they're in the same room. It just shows an error message. For a device you might be relying on as your main alarm clock, this is a huge flaw you need to be aware of, especially if your internet isn't perfectly stable all the time. Let's recap. Before buying, you must be okay with having no camera for video calls, and you must accept that the device is entirely dependent on a stable internet connection to do even the most basic things.
All right, let's talk about the competition. In the world of small smart displays, the choice for most beginners really comes down to this device versus its direct rival from Amazon, the Echo Show 8. So let's put them head-to-head in our 2026 showdown to see which ecosystem and which device is the right one for you.
Now, what's really interesting here is how clearly this chart lays out the decision for you. Let's just walk through it. The Nest Hub is usually cheaper at $99, while the Echo Show 8 is more expensive. The key win for the Nest Hub is that unique, wearable-free sleep sensing. For the Echo Show 8, the key win is it has a built-in camera for actual video calls. Then it comes down to ecosystem. The Nest Hub is just brilliant if you use Google Photos, watch a lot of YouTube, or run your life on Google Calendar. The Echo Show 8 is the clear choice if you're an Amazon Prime member, use Ring security cameras, or are just used to talking to Alexa. Both support the Matter standard, so the choice really just depends on your existing digital life and what you want the device to do.
So the crucial point boils down to this really simple rule of thumb. If your life already runs on Google services, you use Gmail, Google Calendar, all your family photos are in Google Photos, you use YouTube for everything, then the Nest Hub is a completely natural extension of that world. It's going to feel instantly familiar. However, if your top priority is making video calls to family, or if you're a heavy Amazon user who watches Prime Video and has Ring cameras, then the Echo Show 8 is, without a doubt, the better choice for you. Our quick recap: the Nest Hub is best for people deep in the Google ecosystem, while the Echo Show 8 is the clear winner for anyone who needs video calling or is tied to Amazon services.
We have covered a lot of ground in this class. We've defined the device, we've looked at its design, graded its performance, and highlighted its biggest flaws. Now it's time to bring it all together for the final verdict and a quick revision session to make sure you've got the most important points down. Think of this as your final exam before you decide to spend your money.
Let's start with a summary of the most common mistakes to avoid. First, do not buy this device at its full $99 price. It's older hardware, and it goes on sale all the time for between $50 and $70. Be patient. Second, and I can't stress this enough, do not put it in a place where you want to make video calls. It can't do it. Third, while sleep sensing is cool, don't expect it to replace a dedicated fitness tracker if you're a serious athlete. It's a great wellness guide, not a medical device. And finally, if you already own Ring doorbells or a big Alexa user, this is not the device for you. Just stay in the Amazon ecosystem.
So, who should actually buy this thing? Our final verdict is a clear buy, but only if you fit a very specific profile. You should buy it if you are already a heavy Google user, you love the idea of a fantastic smart alarm clock with touchless sleep tracking, and you want a simple, beautiful hub to start controlling a few smart home devices. And that's especially true if you can find it on sale in that $50 to $70 sweet spot. If that sounds like you, you are going to be very happy.
Now, when should you wait? Well, if you aren't in a huge hurry, it might be very wise to just wait. Like we talked about, Google is deep into this Gemini AI transition, and this 2021 hardware can sometimes struggle with it. A hardware refresh with a faster processor made for this new AI era seems very, very likely. Waiting 6 months to a year could get you a significantly better, faster, and more reliable device for about the same price.
And finally, who should skip this device entirely and not even look back? You should absolutely skip the Nest Hub if video calling is a must-have, non-negotiable feature for you. You should also skip it if you are already heavily invested in Amazon's ecosystem with Alexa and Ring. And finally, you must skip it if you have an unreliable or spotty home internet connection. Any one of those three things is a complete deal breaker for this product.
And that brings us to our final revision quiz to lock in everything we've learned. You ready? Question 1. What unique technology enables the Hub's sleep sensing feature? The answer is the Soli radar chip. Question 2. What's the biggest functional feature that is completely missing from this device? That would be a camera for video calling. Question 3. What happens to the Hub if your internet connection fails? It becomes mostly useless, basically a digital paperweight. Question 4. Why is Matter support such a big deal for beginners? Because it's a universal standard that lets devices from different brands just work together. And finally, question 5. Who is the Amazon Echo Show 8 a better choice for? It's better for people who need video calls or are already living